Hey, it's your girl Ashley, aka ThaWidow, and welcome to the Marvel Shill. Today we are going to be talking about Ms. Marvel. I'm going to kind of give you my general thoughts on the series as a whole a little bit, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Episode 1 and 2 for me was very strong. I went into this show with very low expectations. I thought, now this is the Marvel show, the MCU property. I could probably skip it and not give a care. Really, is what I was thinking. But of course, I was gonna watch it because I wanted to see how it would tie into the bigger universe. But I wasn't really excited. I really thought that it wasn't gonna be very good. And boy, did episode 1 and 2 really blow me away. We spent a lot of time with Kamala in the first 2 episodes. It felt like a TV series in the very beginning, and they were very, very strong. Being introduced to her mother and her father and her brother and her future sister-in-law and Bruno. I absolutely love Kamala and Bruno's friendship, and like, will they, won't they? Bruno has a little crush on her. I enjoyed, even Zoe, even though she was like kind of like the girl at high school, she was kind of like the mean girl at first. I really enjoyed her, and I love Bruno as well. I felt that they were all very strong. And Cameron, always calling Bruno Brian once we met him. I thought that was great. Episode 3, MCU here. We've got a villain issue. We got one. And I think that if we could have just focused on one villain, and then we had this group of villains, and it was like, we've been called several things, clandestines. It wasn't very compelling. While I understood their motivations, that they wanted the bangle, and that they needed the matching bangle, to get home, right? They needed both to get home. I guess one would help them access the realm so they could get back home, and that was their motivation. But it seemed like really cheesy, especially in episode 3. At this beautiful wedding, which I loved. I thought that all of that was great. But as soon as they came in and they pull out these generic weapons, and the fighting, the choreography was just a little bit silly to me in episode 3. But overall, I think the first half of it was really like the first 10 minutes of episode 3 that I really didn't enjoy. Episode 4 for me was by far the weakest. That's when we go to Pakistan. Her nanny, told her that she needed to get there immediately. She asked her if she'd seen the train. And I feel like the cast of characters that we're introduced to are not as compelling as Cameron and Bruno and her brother and her father. Like, I really, really miss them, that their presence wasn't there in episode 4. And then you get introduced to the Red Dagger, enemies to the clandestines. So at first, they're fighting with Kamala, and then they embrace her and realize that she is the great granddaughter of Aisha, and so that's where that goes from there. Episode 5 to me was a little bit stronger of an episode, because at the end of episode 4, during the battle, she's then transported back into time, and we get Aisha's backstory. Her great grandmother, and everything that happened with them in the partition, and how they got to the train station, how her nanny is separated from her father, and what happens to Aisha. And Aisha's killed. Like, Cameron's mother, she kills her. Which I thought that was very powerful stuff in the episode, but I feel like it took up so much time, like a 10-minute thing. Because then we flash back to the present, and we're back into the fight sequence, which I felt was silly. And then we get this moment, Cameron receives the powers from his mother once they realize that they cannot get through to the other side to access the North, the other realm, destroying everything by calling out to her son Cameron. And all of that energy is transported into Cameron, and then he is then giving powers from that, which I thought that was kind of cool. And then like how he reacts to it. He, teams up with Bruno, and then he realizes that he's been calling Bruno the wrong name all along, which I thought that was a cool little moment. And the realization that Kamala was the one that saved her nanny, that she was the Trail of Stars. This was always her destiny to save her family, and to keep her family going. So that was good, but again, too long. 6, we get it right into the action. The DODC is hunting Cameron. Kamala has this great suit that her mother has, crafted for her. And she looks freaking amazing, by the way. And so they all decide to band together. Her brothers, Zoe, Nikita, Bruno, that they're all going to save Cameron and try to protect him and create this diversion at the high school, which was really cool. And it kind of reminded you of like a Home Alone type of thing in a cute way. And they're in high school, and it was cute, and then we get this epic battle. We get to see Kamala and Bigen, and she actually uses the term Bigen, which Cameron in that realizes that his mother's dead, and like he gets very emotional and very aggressive there for a while, and you don't know if he's going to completely turn evil and be a bad guy, or if Kamala can pull him back to the other side. And she's able to do that by explaining to him that we all can make mistakes, basically. Moment that said everybody a buzz. Bruno is talking to Kamala because her brother had said, Kamala's my sister. I'm curious if I have powers too. And he, takes a sample of his blood. He tests it. He realizes that Kamala's genetic code, her DNA makeup, is different from her family's. And he says it's some type of mutation. Dun, dun, dun. And I remember in that moment, like before, when he's saying that, I was like, he's going to say she's in, something to make us believe, something about an inhuman. I don't think he was going to say inhuman, but say there's something different about your genes that would lead us down the path that she's an inhuman. But we hear the music. Cue the music. She's a mutant. And the X-Men theme from the animated series comes on, and shock and awe, right? And then, of course, everyone's upset. There's a lot of people that don't like it. A lot of people are very, very angry by this. Again, let me know your thoughts below. Is Inhumans out of the question altogether in the MCU? Or could mutants and Inhumans here in the MCU have a connection? I remember the other day, Caden and RJ, we were on RJ's stream, aka Marvel Maniac, which you should go check out both of his streams, his watch party for Ms.Marvel, and then his the State of the MCU stream. Both were fun, and Caden brought up a point. Inhumans could just be a subdivision of mutants. They are very similar, so that could be a possibility. On her bed, and her bangle starts to change colors we hadn't seen before, and out comes Carol Danvers. And I know a lot of people had questions. Is this Kamala turning into Carol, or is this Carol Danvers? And from everything that I've seen, and we're gonna get into the article exactly about the post-credit scene. She says, and Deadline asks, that post-credit scene was such a sweet surprise. Can you confirm if that was actually Carol Danvers we saw, or Kamala Khan somehow transformed into the hero? Ali says, that is Carol Danvers in Kamala's bedroom. What you're seeing is exactly what you think you're seeing. That's her. There's no magic there. All I can say beyond that is enjoy the movie in 1 year's time. And then Deadline asks, as a fan, what was it like to have Larson in the series? Ali says, I wasn't there when it was shot, but seeing it was incredible. Also, her new suit looks so good with how it coordinates with Kamala. It was delicious. The joy I felt seeing her stand in Kamala's bedroom, I can't describe. It was perfect. That's being Kamala's place for safety and where she expressed herself. So seeing Captain Marvel standing in that space, there's just so much joy in that scene. And so the next question that they asked is, a Deadline asks, is Carol Danvers' appearance in Kamala's room connected in any way to Kamala's DNA mutation? Ali says, it will be revealed in the movie. I was excited to help set up all these riddles for you guys that will lead into the movie, where the story continues. Didn't you say about Kamala's mutation? Ollie answers, as Bruno says, there's a mutation in her DNA. I think the music cues have a lot to tell you about what's coming. And again, note that the music playing during the scene is a theme from the theme from the X-Men animated series from the 1990s. Ollie would not elaborate further on the connection. Deadline. What can you share about how those final beats set up the movie? No, not a single thing. What we gave you on the show is what your guys are gonna get. So that was really, really interesting. That was her take there, explaining, because I know a lot of people had questions. Is that Carol Danvers? Did she transform into Carol? And I remember thinking, that evening, just from observing and how she was looking around the room, that she was confused of where she was. So obviously they had switched places, because it seems like if she had transformed into Carol, there would have been her looking in the mirror and, more of a shock. Instead, we see Carol like looking around and, trying to figure out how she got to where she was, and then she bolts. And suit, I love the gloves. And then you can't see it in this picture. Her boots are like combat boots, and they're navy, and her hair looks amazing. I'm glad that she doesn't have that short, weird hair, which we knew that it grew out. And I just think I'm super excited to see this movie now. Now that we're adding Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan into it, Carol's new look. We've got a new director, Nia DaCosta, and Monica Rambeau, Tiana Parrish, who I absolutely loved in WandaVision. And to see the dynamic between the three of these characters, one who seems very upset with Carol and one who is a super fan. So again, I'm very excited to see, Carol Danvers teaming up with Ms. Marvel, who is a super fan, and then Monica Rambeau coming in, and seems like she's not very happy with Carol, and seeing how all three of these characters work together. I'm super excited for the Marvels. We got a new director again with Nia DaCosta, and I loved her version of Candyman. So I'm really excited to see what this film is all about. And getting back to Ms. Marvel, for me, Ms. Marvel, started off very, very strong with the first two episodes. Episode 3, I enjoyed it quite a bit as well. And then episode 4 and 5 fell off a bit for me. But episode 6, I feel that it ended strong and on a very high note. Even episode 5, I liked it overall. It was episode 4 for me that I was like, I don't know about this. So taking all that into account, if I'm going to grade this show, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And that's my score for Ms. Marvel. Let me know your thoughts down below. Until next time, I'm out of here. Bye.